Welcome back to episode 3 of the day after. Before we get into the Bournemouth preview, let's briefly run over what happened in that Spurs game because that was absolute chaos. It's like one blind man in one post and another blind man in the other post because that's how the game was. Forster was pretty much useless and so was Bayındır. Guys, let's just ask ourselves, what was that corner goal all about? This reminds me of Stanislas when he scored, funnily enough, for Bournemouth in 2015-2016. It was the exact same goal where the keeper used his less dominant hand to try and save the shot. Why would you do that on a corner? And now Son scores. That's fine. But it was utter chaos. And we lost because it was utter chaos. Because we tried to dominate, and I think we dominated in every single stat. There were around 15 or 16 stats I saw. And in all of the stats, we dominated. And these were big stats as well, like XG, total shots, possession, passes completed, forward passes. We dominated 15 of these stats, except shots on target, which we were off by 1. But this tells you we had a dominant performance away from home against a traditional Big Six side. Just like we did against City, another dominating performance. So, 4-3, yes, we lost. Why did we lose? Again, guys, like I've said before, schoolboy errors. We can't be making these errors in the Premier League level. Especially with all the players that we have, should be doing way more. People like Euro had a good game. Mazraoui, well, he was a bit shaky. Amad Diallo again, guys. I mean, at some point we have to say he's one of the best wingers in the league. And he's just that good, guys. He is that good. Understand, it's not because he plays for us. Do not discount what he does. He is actually that level. But as good as Ahmad is, that's how bad people like Bruno Fernandes are. That's how bad people like Rasmus Højlund are in their positions. Now, can we use Bruno? I think the experiment time is over and we have to just move on. Find somebody else in those roles. We can maybe get Edison in the pivot. And at Cam, we can get almost anybody like Kvaratskhelia. You pay the money. Because we're Man United, now that we're moving different, we can buy anybody we want at Cam. Anybody, you name it. We can go and pay the 100 billion. I think we will, in fact. In the summer, we're going to get a star name. And if not a star name, we're going to get somebody like Naipan. We're going to get somebody like Chris Rigg from Sunderland. There are options and we can go and get them. I trust our scouting team and Ineos to pull the trigger on it. We will sign some really good attacking midfielders. So Bruno will be out of the team very soon. Rashford has been out of the team and we probably had 2 of our best performances so far. And so has Garnacho. And Garnacho came on the other day, and what was that from Garnacho? Let me just say that. What was that from Garnacho? But anyway, that was in the past. And we lost, yeah. It might not seem like we lost the way I'm reacting, but there's a lot of positives to take from that game. A lot. And I would even say that we deserve to win that, but unfortunately, we're still early on in Amorim's phases, and at some point, we're going to make errors. And we've been making too many errors. We got to reduce that, but guys, I'm confident enough to say by the end of the season, we'll see final form Man United, and that final form Man United will be scary. It will be scary. If we can get our attackers finishing, right, we are creating chances. If we can get our strikers scoring, and it's just like a flick of a switch. Because look how Jackson changed at Chelsea. People were clowning him last season. Now Jackson is probably arguably one of the best strikers in the league this season. So things can change like that. So even if the strikers aren't that good, and I think Zirkzee is actually good enough. But even with Rasmus Højlund, if you give him enough time, if confidence kicks in, we could see our forwards scoring so many more goals. But we have to play the right players, obviously. We can't play Garnacho, we can't play Rashford, we can't play Bruno constantly. If we can get an Edison for holding midfield in the summer, we could actually change things. But anyway, enough with the Spurs game. Now let's talk about the Bournemouth game coming up. It should be either tomorrow or today if you're watching it on game day. So, what do we think of AFC Bournemouth? Well, traditionally, they always are somewhat of a bogey team if you think about it. And they are going to be the biggest test that we've had so far under Amorim. And the only footballing side that we've played so far. Yeah, Arsenal fans might delude you and tell you that they are a good footballing side. No, they are not. Man City fans, if there are any, they might tell you that they're a good footballing side. They're not at the moment. And Ipswich, Nottingham Forest, are they really competitors? And we saw what happened against Spurs. So, by default, this is the best footballing side we're going to play, at least this year. Because even Newcastle does not top them and Wolves don't top them either. Why do I say Bournemouth is the hardest team? Because if you look at their stats, if you look at the way they play, Iraola has them coached perfectly. Like their possession, their high pressing. And if you just look at the stats, right? In the defensive phase, in the midfield phase, and in the offensive phase, Bournemouth are in the same position for ball recoveries. So what does ball recoveries mean? Think about everything we are doing right now on the Amorim. You know, when we lose the ball and immediately they attack us, can you get the ball off the opposition and take it back in your favor? That's pretty much a ball recovery. Now, if you look at Bournemouth, they top every single stat. Whether that's defensive recoveries, whether that's midfield recoveries, whether that's final third recoveries, Bournemouth are the best in the league. So now you know what team we're facing. We're facing a high pressing team, a team that will almost match what we are doing right now. Like if you have seen United games recently, if you have been watching us religiously again, you would know we are turning back possession just like that. And we're probably doing it at the same pace as Bournemouth. But the only difference is we haven't had enough time with Amorim. And that is why we might be struggling a bit. But in every game this season, anytime we lose the ball, the press is amazing. Like even if you see, I can't really show you the clips here because, well, copyright. But if you just look at this, you can see what we did against Spurs. And it was a high press and this worked. And this is what we will see so many times, guys. I'm not saying it's exactly that, but both Bournemouth's press and the press that we are working on, both reminds me of the 2018-19 Liverpool press. If you guys know how scary that team was, yeah, I think we are building into that. And if you get Edison, especially in our midfield, along with Ugarte, oh my God, it's going to be fun. And that is why, guys, just have to wait. Look at the performances for now. Forget the results for a bit. Just look at how we are performing. And when we see how we're performing, we have not performed this well since Van Gaal. If you look at how we're keeping the ball, how we are transitioning, how we are trying to pick out the empty spaces, this is what we want, guys. And we've been doing this for the first time since Van Gaal. And funnily, this is going to be our hardest test of the year, like I said. Because Bournemouth is going to give us exactly what we are working on, but the final for Man United, pretty much, if you want to say. Except they don't have world-class players, individual quality wise. But when it comes to the system, it is drilled perfectly by Iraola. And we're going to see patterns of play that we do not want to face. And we'll see Howson at the back end. He is a trouble. Because when it comes to ball-playing centre-backs, you can say he's up there with Lenny Yoro. Yeah. That's how good Howson can be. So when you're facing people like that, and when you have people like Smith and Christie in midfield who will win the ball back, it's trouble. It's signaling trouble if we are not on it. If we pick the wrong lineup, if we pick a team to play technical against this team, we're going to struggle big time. Which is why I think in our team, we will see a lot of runners against Bournemouth. Because trying to play technical is probably one of the stupidest ideas I've ever heard of against Bournemouth. So having said that, let me just say, we will have to be on our game when it comes to the wings, because Semenyo, Kluivert and Ouattara, those three are going to cause problems on the wide sides, guys. And we know how good our right side is, but we also know how bad our left side is. Every game when it comes to Lisandro Martinez, Dalot and Garnacho, that left-hand side is just vacant. And the right-hand side is equally as strong, which is why, I don't know if you guys would agree, but if De Ligt is back in the squad, and even if he is not actually, I'd play Mazraoui at left centre-back, drop Martinez, play Yoro at right centre-back, and whether that's De Ligt or Maguire, they go at centre-back. And we just need cover on that left-hand side, guys. Drop Dalot, drop Malacia in. Malacia and Mazraoui, like we did against Arsenal. Same lineup there, so that we can lock that left-hand side down. And then, obviously, in offense, I would put Kobe Mainoo with Ahmad, because that's the most obvious inside forwards that we can play. I know people are realizing now that Kobe cannot really play in the pivot. They've been pushing that pivot thing way too much because they think Kobe can actually do the defensive work. No, he can't. But at the same time, one more thing which is pretty ridiculous that I've been seeing is people think Kobe is not actually as good. I don't know why that is. Maybe because he hasn't been playing. People have actually forgotten what he's all about, how good he is with the ball, and especially dribbling, finishing, picking out a pass. That is Kobe. The best thing Amorim can do for Kobe is, first of all, phase him in slowly. So don't rush him in too much. And second thing is, let him play at 10, not as an 8. And if we can do that simple thing, guys, I think we might even beat Bournemouth. But as much as I say we'll beat Bournemouth, this will be the toughest test for us under Amorim for this year. We will not have a harder one in the next 2 games after this, and we haven't had any in the games before this. So we'll have to be on it, and I will say we will win it, but narrowly and just narrowly. I think we're going to win 2-1. But this is a game which could go either way because Bournemouth is very well drilled. They can really cause us problems. They can win it. You never know. Remember, they did win last season. They came to Old Trafford. They won 3-0. Should have easily been 4-0 at Old Trafford. And we drew at their place. So we haven't beaten them last season. So having said all that, I think we will still win 2-1 just because we are one more step further in Amorim's process and because we won't pick our second team again. We will pick our first team and that should just about get us across the line, and it's Old Trafford. So what do you guys think? Comment down below and see you all in the next one.